the competition for your smart home is intensifying. For years, Zigbee and ZWave ruled silently behind the scenes, but now, Wi-Fi is taking the spotlight, offering simplicity and speed. With so many options on the market, one question remains: which protocol is best suited to power your smart home? The answer is not as easy, but we have made it incredibly interesting to choose from, and what is probably the best option right now. In today's video, we'll try to figure out which of these items is best for your smart home. That being said, let us get right to it. Zigbee and ZWave are primarily designed for smart home applications, rather than other types of data transmission. But wait a second. You may be questioning why you need completely separate protocols to unlock your front door with your hand, when you already have Wi-Fi control appliances that work perfectly. It turns out that Zigbee and ZWave offer significant technical advantages, making them more efficient and dependable for home automation. One major issue is electricity consumption. You may have noticed that your home Wi-Fi is quite versatile, since it consumes a lot of power, which is understandable, given that it is utilized for bandwidth-intensive applications such as video streaming and gaming. However, you don't need a lot of bandwidth to instruct your smart door lock to lock or unlock the door, or operate other smart devices. This means you don't require a lot of speed, resulting in significant power savings if you utilize a battery-powered doorbell or security camera. However, both Zigbee and ZWave run at speeds below 300 kilobits per second, which means they aren't much quicker than an old dial-up modem. But the effect is power savings, which is why many smart gadgets can last for years without needing to be recharged. Now you might be wondering why we don't just use Bluetooth, which is also a low-power technology. Since a Bluetooth gadget only works properly when the primary device, such as your smartphone, is within Bluetooth range. Zigbee, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth use the 2.45 GHz frequency, while ZWave uses the 0.9 GHz range. This means that overall, ZWave will have the longest non-line of sight range between devices due to its lower frequency, but it will sacrifice some bandwidth in the process. Currently, the slower data transmission isn't a big concern because the messages provided by these devices are rather short. But when these technologies are integrated into more high-resolution sensors, we may reach the limit of what Z-Wave frequency can communicate. Next, we have Zigbee. This one has recently grown in popularity, owing to the fact that the gadgets can be quite compact and sleek. They may operate on coin cells due to their low power consumption. They run locally, so we don't need a cloud connection. They feature a mesh structure, so wherever you have power devices, these can send the signal to the next device, allowing them to work over long distances. The Z-Wave protocol has been around for a long time. Some advantages of Z-Wave include the ability to communicate over large distances. It is also developing a mesh dependence, in which one device bounces off the next to extend the signal. If you use a Z-Wave that is created for a specific country, they will all be able to interact with each other with less interference, because the frequency of the radio waves is lower. So, how does this affect smart home devices? Sigma Designs runs a unique technology known as Z-Wave. If your equipment says Z-Wave, it implies it is licensed by Sigma Designs, and the maker was required to follow rigorous protocol and language guidelines to ensure maximum device compatibility. Sigma even has control over who can make Z-Wave chips, which are all manufactured by Silicon Labs. The benefit of this total control is that the protocol is extremely standardized, so you can always be confident that your Z-Wave devices, regardless of brand, will be able to communicate with your Z-Wave hub. However, Sigma Designs is able to charge more for these chips and licensing, resulting in a higher cost per device. Zigbee, on the other hand, is an open wireless standard, which means that different companies can create their own devices without adhering to the rigorous regulations that Z-Wave enforces. As a result, similarly like ordering from a drive-thru in a different language, while every Zigbee hub can hear every Zigbee device, it may not understand what that device is saying. Both Zigbee and Z-Wave constitute a mesh network, which can increase the signal's range by transferring information from one device to the next until it reaches the hub. The best-case situation is that this relay mechanism enhances the device's range, while adding only a little delay or latency. But as the number of relays or hops increases, the delay can become highly significant. On the other hand, the lower-power Z-Wave network has very limited bandwidth available, approximately 100 kilobits per second, which is much slower than Wi-Fi and even slower than Bluetooth. This makes ZWave an unsuitable choice for bandwidth-intensive applications, such as streaming video, security cameras, or audio. However, it is not a problem for sensors, such as motion sensors, light switches, or temperature sensors, because they convey very little data, only on, off, blue, and how cold it is. Unfortunately, one of Z-Wave's greatest strengths is also one of its biggest weaknesses, the ZWave Alliance. To have the ZWave mark imprinted on it, a product must be certified by the gods of ZWave, and you can only request certification for a ZWave device if you are a member of the ZWave Alliance. The beautiful thing about this is that you can be confident that a certified ZWave product will operate with every other certified ZWave product. This is what the certification is intended to ensure. Unfortunately, getting a product certified is quite expensive, which may be prohibitive for some smaller companies, and companies that can afford the certification fee will undoubtedly pass that cost on to consumers, which is why ZWave devices typically cost a little more than their Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or Zigbee counterparts. Also, unlike Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, ZWave is not included into your smartphone or laptop, so you'll need to purchase a separate ZWave hub or controller to connect these devices. Overall, it's an excellent smart home protocol, with far more advantages than disadvantages. If you already have a number of ZWave devices on your network and are satisfied with them, there's no reason to abandon them. But have many individuals started to favor Zigbee because it establishes a local network, independent of your internet connection and Wi-Fi network. The data exchanged between devices is encrypted and consumes very little power. However, the ZWave network operates on a relatively quiet 900 MHz radio band, whereas Zigbee operates on the 2.4 GHz spectrum. This is the same radio wave spectrum as Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so it's a little busy. Your Wi-Fi and Zigbee networks may collide and cause performance issues. On the other hand, ZWave runs at a lower frequency than Wi-Fi, resulting in larger ranges between nodes. Zigbee works on the more congested 2.4 GHz bandwidth that Wi-Fi frequently uses, but it compensates for this limitation by allowing users to hop across as many devices as they require, whereas ZWave is limited to 4 hops. Remember that, regardless of the protocol you use, many battery-powered smart home devices are not designed to be used as hubs, because this would drain the battery faster. On the subject of restrictions, the most significant disadvantage for most individuals using Zigbee or ZWave is the requirement for a central hub to operate your devices. Also, you can only ever have one hub, controller, coordinator, whatever you want to call it, active in each network at a time. If your hub breaks, gets turned off, or is otherwise inaccessible, then the entire network goes down. If the hub is actually broken and you need to replace it with a new one, then you need to go around and reconnect all of your devices all over again, unless you're lucky enough to have some sort of backup of your network that you can restore in some way. Because neither typical routers nor smartphones or tablets include Zigbee or ZWave support, you'll need a hub that connects to your router via Wi-Fi and then sends a Zigbee or ZWave signal to the devices you want to control. So they're not as simple as Wi-Fi. But with so many IoT devices using Zigbee and ZWave, the question may arise, which one is best? To be honest, it all relies on you. Whereas most smartphone appliances have Wi-Fi connectivity but cannot integrate with one another, ZWaves have a longer range and better interoperability as a proprietary standard. And Zigbee has thrived in the commercial automation space, but has taken longer to gain traction in the consumer smarter market. So, that was everything about Wi-Fi, Zigbee, and ZWave. Thank you for watching the video. If this video was helpful to you, please like, comment, and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell symbol to get more videos like this in your feed.